Identity theft is CFRN.net/legal shield. You can thank me later. Your peace of mind is waiting at CFRN.net/legal shield.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 17th day of April, 2017. Hope you had a great weekend. Now, there is no greater holiday than the one we just celebrated yesterday, and it is the thing that separates us from every other religion on the planet. Not Buddha, not Confucius, not Mohammed. No one claims to have risen from the dead. No one has evidence that they did rise from the dead, except us. That's what separates us. Yes, the virgin birth, that was pretty miraculous. Healing the lepers, way cool. Making the blind see, the deaf hear, demons go, all awesome, awesome, awesome. But it's Resurrection Sunday. That's the capper. I'm telling you, it's a good day to be alive. Now, I want to say this. Every day it seems like the radio show starts a little bit late. I just want you to know that Michael has absolutely nothing to do with that part of it. So, if you want to be a hater, just write my name on a post-it note, because it's not his fault. He's always ready to go, but I try to get all this stuff organized, and I always think I got enough time, and then the phone rings, or some other thing happens, or life happens, and then I'm late. So, mea culpa. We did a Q&A yesterday afternoon. That was a technical nightmare as well. There are 2 versions out on emini.cfrn.net, also at youtube.com/CFRN. One's called the Director's Cut. One's 58 minutes, one's 36 minutes. What's the difference between the two? I have no idea, alright? Probably one of them, the longer one, probably has me being all angry and stuff. And I captured it live in stereo, just for you. Now, I want to say this to our YouTube audience. I'm going to try and hook up an additional monitor today so that I can monitor the YouTube chat box as well as the GoToWebinar chat box. Now, some of you just tune in for the radio portion, for the radio stream. Maybe you're driving down the road in your 18-wheeler. However, wherever you listen to the stream, keep your eyes on the road. But for those who are at a desk or sitting in a park or fishing, if you want to see the charts, you can see the charts several different ways. You can go to our home page, and on the right-hand side, click the big microphone. Follow the instructions on the next page where it says Watch Live Now. Do that. You only have to do that once a month. Then every day you'll be sent an email 1 hour before the show starts, and you can join each day for the rest of the month with one-click access. You can also download the GoToWebinar app to your smartphone or tablet, and that makes it really simple, because we'll give you a number at the beginning of the week, and you just tippy-tap that in, and I'm telling you, technology, it's amazing, really amazing. And I just got a warning. I don't like that. One of my browser tabs says close the other application. Okay, I'm trying. I want to give you the numbers. That's what I want to do, and I'm gonna, because of my page loaded. All right, I'm not loaded, but my page loaded. Okay, give it a minute to fully load. There we go. Yeah? No? Okay. Now these are the cash markets. I know this is a show about all things Emini, but the numbers that you see flashed on the screen on CNBC, or that you hear the radio announcer talk about on other radio programs, they're always talking about the cash market. We are futures focused for so many reasons. That's a whole separate radio show. In fact, somebody asked that question yesterday in the Q&A session. Why do you trade futures instead of options? And I gave him, I think, a pretty fair answer. You be the judge. Okay? So here's the cash markets. In the U.S., the Dow is up 114 points. That's a little over half of 1%. The NASDAQ is up 31 points. The S&P 500 is up 12 points. And the Russell 2000 is up 6.5 points. Every single U.S. market is up over 0.5%. That qualifies it as a mover and a shaker. Now, true story, the Russell's only up 0.49%. I need another 0.01 to make it actually 0.5%. All right? Transparency is our hallmark. Okay, what's happening in the old commodity basket? Well, crude oil is down 47 cents, trading 52.71. And gold shines up $2.50, trading $12.91. Ooh, we're just waiting to break that 1300. Now, that's a big round number, and if we can get above it and then hold it on a pullback, I think we could see 14. I really do. And of course, you know, I'm long-term bullish on gold, have been for a very long time. Okay, let's go to the Asian markets, which it's a market of a different color. The Nikkei is actually, they did close positive, up 19 points. The Shanghai, though, was in the red, down 24 points. Hang Seng was in the red, down 51 points. And last but not least, our European friends, the FTSE closed down 21 points, the DAX closed down 45 points, and the CAC closed down 30 points, and that puts the CAC down over 0.5%. So there you have it. Europe is red. Asia has a splash of green with the Nikkei. And here in the U.S., green, green, green. And commodities mixed with oil down 47 cents and gold up $2.50. Okay. Now, because I kept Michael waiting so long, I'm going to go ahead and I normally ramble for a bit, but I'm just going to bring him on in and let him give you a recap of what happened in the live trading room today. It won't be a lengthy recap because the market, as you can see, if you can see my chart, it was really flat overnight. We did break to the upside on the S&P 500, and so not only our Concierge Trade Alert, but if I'm not mistaken, our Daily Double, I think those both worked out pretty good. I will give you the number real quick on the Concierge, because I think I have that loaded up. Talk to me. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this over the weekend, but I'll show it to you if I can. Can I? I don't know. I'm still getting familiar with this. Oh, I need you guys to do something. I'm going to put a link in the chat box here in a few minutes. We've now made it into the top 100 on iTunes in our category, and that's kind of like a big deal. If we got a push today, if we could get at least 50 people to click this link and subscribe, it won't cost you a dime, and you'll never even know you subscribed unless you have some kind of Apple product, but it counts. We could actually make the top 10. Now, by golly, that's pretty cool. So I wanted this thing to load so I could show you because it's funny. And then I wanted to give you that number. Come on. Come on, baby. Oh. It's not there. Yeah. Oh, yes it is. You're gonna laugh. Get ready. I think you will. Trading shouldn't hurt. Get help today. Apply.cfrn.net. That's how you take the trial Our 90-day mentoring program is actually 95 days. You get the first 5 days free, and then if you like it, you can actually sign up for the other 90 days. It's not automatic or anything. You take the trial. If you like it, you sign up. Our mothership is CFRN.net, and our ever-popular Google Plus blog is emini.cfrn.net. There is financial first aid available at every one of these sites. And if you followed me here, that'd be cool. Now, real quick, let me give you that number that I wanted to give you. I'm going to put it in the chat box. Let me see how many of you will actually click that thing. In the meantime, while that's loading, good Lord, why does it take these things so long to load? I may need a new computer. I don't know. On the S&P, last night when we sent out the alert to all of the subscribers and everyone on the trial, we suggested if you get the opportunity on the S&P, maybe you might want to try buying 23.29. Now, what would that look like? Well, I don't know, because I can't seem to get a little line. There we go. 23. Now, these are last week's zones, by the way. I got to put that little disclaimer on the screen. Partners get the zones every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, so they can get their charts all ready for the new week. Once we issue the weekly zones, they do not change for the entire week. We don't massage them, manipulate them, change them in any way. Once we put them out there, we stick by them. It's kind of like our support and resistance dots. Once those print, they don't suddenly disappear. Like, oops. I mean, sometimes our zones get spiked. Sometimes price trades through it like a hot knife through butter. But that's just part of trading. Did you say hello?
Did I say hello?
Somebody said hello. Oh, I guess that's Mike Reed. I don't know. Somebody said hello. Anyway, we said last night by 23.29. Swing high, it was so far 23.39 and a quarter. Am I reading that right? Mikey?
Yeah.
Michael.
Looks like you're reading.
I'm sorry, I know you hate that.
Yes.
Okay,
That
so 10 and a quarter points. That's what 10.25 times $50 per point. And I might add so far. Now, partners know what the current weekly trading zone is overhead. So see how it helps them to navigate their ship? Sure enough. All right. Now we're ready to go to Michael. Take it away, please, sir.
Okay. I will take it away. Here we go.
And I'll hit mute.
All right. And
As soon as I see your chart. Now it comes. There we go. Now we're cooking.
Okay.
Oh.
You should be looking at it now. All right. Let me hit this. That's what I want to put up there. All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 17th day of April. Think about that. Today is Monday, the 17th day of April, 2017. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net. Scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial. Click on that. Then where it says start free trial, click on that. And fill out this little form. You have 4 little spaces to fill out right there. Fill that out, you hit the submit button, you'll be sent to confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay. If you don't click that confirmation link, you will not get a free trial. All right, that's what you have to do. Now, today, you're going to look at the spreadsheet. You got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down here at the bottom. Okay, they are required by the CFTC for all of you. All right, so today on the NQ we made 8 ticks, and on gold we made 10. That's $140 gross. Gross on the day. We got our goal in the first opportunity today. It was 1 trade, 10 minutes, $100 a contract, and we took a total of 4 today. All right. On the month now, the gross profit $1232.50. That's over 10 days, averaging $123 a day. And on the year now, $10,931. That's over 71 days, averaging $153 per day. Okay. Again, if you can look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. So we will go through the trade setups. All right. On gold, this is the one that we took, right at the open. We jumped into this. We got 10 ticks profit. And that was the goal for the day. We missed the follow-up here and there and there. And then at the end of the room this morning, there was another short right there that we missed. Okay. That was it on the gold. On the euro, this line right here is the high of the day. And the reason I had drawn that line in there is because I was explaining how we didn't want to take a long into the high of the day unless we had enough room to move our stop to break even. You can see overnight here when the European markets, actually the European markets did not open up today. They are closed. But when they normally would have opened up at 3 a.m., stuff was moving around pretty well. Once we got into here at 9:30, there was one long right there that we missed, one break even there. And during the break, there was a short right in here. Okay, and that was it on the euro. Crude today, we really didn't have anything. Well, we missed that one and that one. And there was a short right here that went 4 ticks into profit, would have been a break even. And that was it on the crude. The NQ, even the NQ was kind of quiet today. We took just the one right here for 8 ticks. It was a shorting opportunity here, but the ES was, we took a break even over here as well. The ES was in and out of a zone most of the morning. That's why we didn't do much with this. You see I was drawing trend lines here and there, but we had to wait for the ES to get away from the zone. And you can see here, first thing in the morning, it opened up going right into the zone. Then it finally got up above it, pulled back down toward it, and started moving back up away from it again. Sadly, the slingshot was not giving us any opportunity in here, though. Okay. Wow, that was fast. All right, so that was it. that was today. Today, the 17th day of April. 8 ticks in the NQ and 10 ticks in gold. 140, and took 1 trade in 10 minutes to get to the goal, and we took a total of 4 trades. On the month now, $1232.50. That's over 10 days, averaging $123 a day. And on the year, $10,931. That's over 71 days, averaging $153 per day. Okay, again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. And if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net and scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, and click on that. And where it says start free trial, click on that. Then fill out this little form. Once you fill out that little form, you will be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link. Okay, you must click the confirmation link. If you don't click the confirmation link, you will not get a free trial because we need you to do that. It's called double opt-in, so we don't spam you. All right. And with that, we can head back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, overlooking the largest.
America's largest city park. Did you know that in Hawaii, Spam is like the national food or something? I mean, people really dig it.
Really?
I'm serious, man. It's like a
Yeah.
big, it's, it's a big deal. Hey, I put that link in the chat box. It simply says, anyone who clicks this link, then there's the link, and then clicks subscribe when the page loads, will have done something that could literally change the world, or at least the internet. You could put us into the top 10 of what's hot. We're in the top 100. I've never been called a hottie. I'll let Michael speak for himself. Seriously though, would you? Could you? And if the spirit moves you to leave a 5-star review, well, that's way cool. So, anywho,
All right.
I appreciate it. Michael appreciates it.
Yes. I'll appreciate it.
Stephen, on your question, Michael will send you a carefully detailed response. Won't you, Michael?
Yeah, I'll send him one. Which
Oh.
subscription, though?
The concierge
Is he-
he's interested in.
Yeah, but is he talking about upgrading to it?
Oh, that I don't know. I forgot to mention. I mean, I've heard. I don't have any grandkids because my wife and I adopted late in life, so hopefully it's another decade before we have any grandkids. But I've seen a lot of grandparents and that the way they beam when they hold that little grandbaby. So I don't know what that's like, but we did a special over the weekend that allowed some of the people who weren't around back during the days when we told everybody, you really should take advantage of this if you want to be grandfathered in. And we actually spent 2 months trying to impress how important it was to take action so you get grandfathered in. And of course, a ton of people did, but some people didn't. And then they were sad. And they've never stopped letting us know how sad they are. So we opened the window, we cracked it for a short period of time over the weekend, and now we got a whole bunch of new grandparents. I'll just ring the bell once. But it's an awesome time for us, for you, for the world. Things went well in St. Peter's Square on Sunday morning. We were praying for that. 250,000 people and the Pope all in one place. I can only imagine the level of security that they had going on. I mean, whoa, it had to have been pretty intense. I'm going to grab these charts to get you off the hook.
Okay.
And Mike Reed's in the house. Oh, and we're going to talk about, well, let me get Mike on here, and then we'll do a little talk. Alan has a question for you as well. There, Michael, I'm not sure, you might ask him. I don't know if he means, yeah.
Yeah, I think he means the morning session. Alan, you should
does.
be getting an email.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make sure he's in the chimp.
Okay. Yeah, you should get a link every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. It's got the link and the password for the live training room. It's got the weekly trading zones. It's got everything you need to get the week off to a great start.
There, I just sent it to you, Alan. Okay.
This is what I see when I click on your link. I don't. I'm going to click the link myself, and I'm going to see what I get. Because I clicked it last night, and it worked perfectly well. But if there's a problem with it, I appreciate the heads up. Okay, I just copied that link and put it in a address bar on a browser window in Chrome, and the page is loading ever so slowly because I got a lot of tabs open and other stuff happening. And again, to all the folks over on, at the very top, it says Christian Financial Radio Network, and then on the right-hand side, it says subscribe now. And so you can subscribe with any of those different things. You can add it to iTunes. There's a lot of different ways that you can. And if you don't have a podcatcher, just Google podcatcher. There's a gazillion of them. They're all free. And so,
where'd you paste that link, Dwayne? I don't see that link.
Oh, I'm gonna show you. Hang on. Right there. I just put it in feeds.feedburner.com/CFRN. Subscribe now. With web-based podcatchers, click your choice below. There's like a lot of choices. Or you can add it to iTunes. Or you can just copy this link, and I think Chrome allows you to add RS. It's what that is. It's an RSS feed. Okay, and it doesn't cost you a thing. And here is the last post that I made last week on day 5 of the last Concierge Trade Alert trial. And when you click it, but clicking the subscribe button is what, now I guess you actually have to go into iTunes in order to leave the review, but just clicking the subscribe button, see, it takes you right there, bang. Hasn't fully loaded, but anyway, yeah, when it finally loads, then you click the little headphones, Emini Concierge Trade Alert Trial Day 5, and you click that, and right now it's playing. When it catches up, it'll play the Identity Shield commercial, and then the video will begin to play. But I'm not going to hang you up waiting on that. Okay? Okay. So, did everybody get that? I'm going to do it again. feeds.feedburner.com/CFRN. I'll capture that, and I'll put it in the chat box.
I already did.
One more time. You did?
Yep.
You're cool of you. Oh, okay. John says he subscribed as a live bookmark. All right, that's excellent. Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate that. Okay. Well, moving right along. Mike Reed in the house. Get a round of applause. I don't have my little applause button anymore. How you doing, Mike?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. Most of you know Mike Reed. He's been on this radio show since 2006. He is the Trade Stalker. Now, big news. I wish I had a drum roll thing, but I don't. We have decided to join forces with the Trade Stalker. As you know, Mike has what I think is the best newsletter on the internet. He sends it out to his clients every night at, what time do you send that out, Mike?
Around 6:30.
Okay. And he's really pretty reliable about getting it out at the same time, whereas I fluctuate sometimes. He's pretty reliable. And what he does is he tells you what numbers are important to him tomorrow. His support. Mike, why don't you could far better than I, tell people what that newsletter that you send out every night. Give us a rundown. Okay. What does that baby have in it?
Sure. Okay. In the body of the newsletter, I'm kind of giving my technical outlook. For instance, if indicators are telling me something or whatnot. So technical outlook in the body, and then I give kind of what you might expect in the early going on the upside or down if they are higher or lower, and what might set up. And then I give a list of the zones, like you said, that are going to be should be important in the next day's trading. So those go out, and then throughout the day I send out updates. They go onto the website. I send like an instant message type of deal, and it goes onto our website. Members have a little alert ring, and that tells them there's an update, and then they can go there, take a peek, and hopefully can act on the update in time if it's a setup of some sort. But and then there's like new dynamic support and resistance zones that are developing throughout the day, that I'll update those zones that to watch for maybe an entry point or whatnot for our group. And then 3 days a week, I'm still doing this. We go online for about 90 minutes or so in the morning, Tuesday through Thursday, and it's not a trading room like you and Michael have, but it's kind of a training room where I'm just kind of teaching stuff that is in the ebook, might be a setup in the ebook, and those type of things. What I'm looking at for overall market bias, and what we're looking at for trade setups and that. So yeah, we can put in trades sometimes, but and in fact, when we get to certain spots in the market, we have been giving out swing trades again during the day. So those have been doing pretty well too. So it's kind of a whole lot of stuff.
As you guys can see from the screen, this is on CFRN. Mike Reed, the Trade Stalker, gives you a rundown of everything he just told you, a couple testimonials. Now, the trial is now 2 weeks. No risk, no obligation, 2-week trial. Get a special price for CFRN community members, partners. You will get the delayed version, okay? In other words, the report that went out last night, I'm about to go over that with you, and we're going to walk through the charts. And I purposely didn't look at it yet because I want to see it with fresh eyes, and I want to talk my way through how I would have handled this from last night. Now, what we're going to do for those who take advantage is we're going to be walking you through and teaching you. You know, you have access to mentoring sessions. We're going to make sure you understand how to put the information to use, okay? And because we're joining forces, of course, you're going to get a little bit of a discount here. However, this price, Mike has left this price so low for so long that, you know, once we get the word spread and once everybody starts piling in because they understand how to use it, the price is going to go up. And Mike and I have to, Mike and Michael and I, we have to get together and we have to, you know, plan this. And everybody gets fair warning and advance notice and all that kind of stuff. But the information that's in there is just too valuable. What's amazing, and you've heard me say this since we began publishing our weekly trading zones, is that when our weekly zones overlap Michael's daily zones, oh my goodness. I mean, it's sick in a good way how awesome the trade setups are that are created by that. Now, I'm going to just go over here and I'm going to open up that email that came in last night that went out to every one of my subscribers. Just give me a second to pull that thing up.
Think we can make this in 8 minutes, right? All right.
You got to go in 8 minutes?
Well, let's see.
Okay, well, you know what?
Not
You don't
much
have to.
longer than that. We get.
All right, well, let me tell you what. Let me just pull it up real quick. That way,
Right ahead.
if there's something in there that I might need you to school me on.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Guys, because this is something that we've been talking about for a while. Today's the first day of the rollout, so I know you sent it to me last night. Here it is. Okay, bang. All right. Now, first Mike goes through kind of what happened last week. He just sort of walks you through, so you're kind of always on top of what's happening in the market. You sort of get it at a glance. And now this is something you'll read the night before. Now, when you're on the trial, you're going to read it the afternoon of the day it all happened. But once you become a subscriber, you're going to get it the night before. It's like reading tomorrow's newspaper today. It's that cool. Okay, here's what Mike said last night. He said that zones to watch on Monday would be on the upside 23.30. You see how we leveled off here and did that pullback to our last week's weekly zone? Let me write in last week's zones so nobody gets, so partners don't get last week's. On Thursday, I reveal the zones, the weekly zones, to the general community at large. So okay. Mike said he was looking for 23.30 for resistance, and then 23.44 would be his next number on the way up. Now, Mike, is there anything, I know you got to run, but what would you like to say right now that would really be meaningful to the folks at home? He also does the NASDAQ 100. Now, is that the same as the NQ that I use, NASDAQ 100?
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Because I can go through this with them after you're gone, but if you can hit the highlights, what would have been really important for them from last night's report?
Okay, kind of it was if we didn't have any geopolitical events over the weekend, then we could get indicators were at extremes to where for instance, the VIX had blown out pretty much, and my other indicators were stretched. So we're due for a bounce here today. And then we got through the 30 area and held, and that basically established early uptrend now. And we have one trade set up.
I'm putting this thing on a 5-minute chart so that it might make it easier for you and for everybody else who's not familiar with the range charts that we use.
There was an area.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
That's it. Okay, there's an area at 35 half, 36 half that after we reached a resistance above, acting as new support, we went up, retested 39.40 resistance. That's a kind of a strong area today, and we'd have to break back down to 35, 36 half, 35 half to get a breakdown this afternoon, or at least attempt one, break this uptrend that we have. There's also some symmetry here that stays intact as long as that holds.
Yeah, unfortunately, my chart locked up on me, so I can't get it to an ES 5-minute chart. And I think Michael's on the phone, or I would ask him to grab them and show it. But guys, remember what he said, and I'm going to. Oh, it looks like it's actually going to let me finally have an ES chart. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. ESM7, 5-minute. Double click.
Maybe one of these.
There we go. Now we got a 5-minute chart of the ES. Okay. So the opening bell rang.
They want
right there.
Pop up and pull back, yeah.
Yeah,
Then it went
right
back right
there was the opening bell. Bang. We've got a leg and a retrace and a leg and a retrace and a leg. Now, for our partners who have the weekly zones, you know exactly what's going on from our end. Now, when you see Mike's numbers laid on top of that, okay, and if you get signed up right now for the free trial, then this afternoon, when the has the delayed version already gone out for today? Michael?
I'm sorry. Yeah, it'll go out. Let's see. Well, it goes out around. I think it goes out around just shortly around the same time as the nightly update.
Okay, guys. So you got plenty of. So you guys, you plenty, but you got time.
Yeah.
Go to cfrn.net/trade stalker. Scroll down to the bottom. Okay. Click subscribe. It's going to take you to a page. You don't have to pay anything today. You get 2 weeks of the report. All right. And then you get to make a decision. Man, this is the real deal. You're going to get the delayed version for 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, you get to say, man, I want this in real time so that I can actually put it to use. If you don't want it, then you just cancel. Nobody will be mad. Nobody's feelings will get hurt. We still want you to come, be on the radio show with us. We're still friends. We're still changing the world together, one tick at a time. All right? But it's that simple. All right? Mike, I know you got to run, brother. I love you. We'll talk this afternoon, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Dwayne.
All right.
Have a great day. Have a great
you
day.
too now. Take care.
Bye now.
All right. Now, the price is ridiculously affordable. $89 a month. Now, when you overlay that with what we provide you as a partner, you put, and I'm going to be going forward starting tomorrow, I'm going to walk through the complete report. I'm going to set aside a certain time in the show where I'm going to go through just like I do the concierge alerts. I'm going to walk through what Mike sent you, and I'm going to point out to you how in the S&P and the NASDAQ, those are the two markets that he focuses on, and that's really good for you if you're a new trader because the margin to trade the S&P is only $500. NASDAQ, only $500. Now the current price right now on the S&P is 2337. 2337. The value of the S&P is $50 per point. So if I go 2337 times $50, for $500 you're controlling $116,850 of the S&P 500 best of breed equity. Now picture this. You walk into your stockbroker's office. You guys have known each other for years. You've had a few drinks, made a few dollars together, hopefully. And you lay 5 crisp $100 bills down on his desk and say, I want to place an order. And he says, sure. What would you like? I'd like $116,000 worth of equity in the S&P 500. He'll go, huh? Yeah, I'd like $116,000 of some S&P 500 stocks. He goes, but that's only $500. And you go, well, yeah. See, most stockbrokers, no, I shouldn't say most. My stockbroker, who, when I went into the world of futures, when I left equities for futures, he had been a stockbroker for 20 years. When I started talking about Emini futures, he, honest to God, now that he's a great guy, he's brilliant, he served in the Marine Corps. I mean, he's the guy that goes and jumps out of the airplane every weekend. Yeah, that guy. In fact, he was on the radio show because he's got the franchise thing. Okay. I had to break it down to him what E-mini futures were, and he goes like that. That's crazy. How can they do that? And you pay $5.80 a round turn to get in and get out? Because I used to have to pay him like $75 to get into a stock trade, and then when I cashed out, any profits I made, I had to give him like 2% of my profits, and that was his good deal. that wasn't the deal if you were some clown that just fell in off the street. So there are so many reasons. There are tax advantages, which I cannot and will not go into because I am not an accountant and I'm not licensed to give you that kind of information. The information I give you on this show, all of it, every one of it's all our opinion, okay? If you want authorized, certified, professional advice, you have to actually talk to an investment professional, somebody who's licensed, like a Bert Schlichter, like a Leslie Burton. You can do that by calling 866-928-3310. They've been at this for a long time. They are very good at what they do. Now, what really sets them apart is not only are they brokers, but they're also traders. And Bert understands every nuance of our trading methodology. So if you ask him a question, you're not speaking some foreign language to him. He knows exactly what you're talking about. And when you call 866-928-3310, you don't get a phone room, you don't get a call center in a third world country, none of that. No. Either Bert or Leslie will answer the phone, usually by the third ring. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know what they put in the coffee over there. But they're always in a good mood. Chipper, upbeat, happy, and ready to serve. The way I met them, I had a guy, a friend, who had followed me even before the radio show started. And he was there the first day of the first radio broadcast. And he called me and told me, I met this guy. He's a broker, and I think you should call him and talk to him. I think he'd be a great addition to your radio program. And I'm like, yeah, okay, It's one of those things you just keep saying, okay. So one day, I am in the library, and my phone rings, and I see it's him, and I know why he's calling, and I answer the phone, and he goes, when are you going to call Bert? And I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm tied up at the moment, but as soon as I'm finished, I'm going to call him. I promise you. Then you won't ever have to make this call again. He goes, okay, great, and hung up. I called him, and man, we spoke for like probably an hour, like we had known each other forever. And they're those kind of people. If you've never called 866-928-3310 and had the pleasure of speaking to either Bert or Leslie, you should. Even if they go, can I help you with something particular? Nope. Dwayne just said I should call you. That you guys were awesome. And they'll tell you about their company and about their career. Leslie, she was actually a broker for one of the original Turtles. If you don't know who the Turtle traders were, you should Google them. It's been a few years, but she was. And so they really know what they're talking about. They really know what they're doing. But you don't have to do business with them, okay? You can run our indicators on NinjaTrader. Now, we don't have any particular in over there with a certain person that knows our stuff inside out. But if you're a NinjaTrader person, by all means, you can use them. The other one is multicharts.net. Not multicharts, but multicharts.net. It's two separate animals. Our indicators will work there. And also, Gain Capital is one of the largest clearing firms in the industry. Any broker that clears through Gain check your broker. They might clear through gain. They will have a platform that looks identical to this, except for the little logo up in the corner. And then Michael, our Michael, CFRN Michael, with a couple tweaks, he'll have our indicators working on that platform for you if you're already with a broker. Now, once you talk to Bert and Leslie, you may decide you want to do business somewhere else. See, I'm going to tell you what, here's what I like. I like knowing, it doesn't matter where you trade, you're going to have to pay somebody a commission. Now, I understand discount brokerage firms are appealing because they're cheap. You know, sometimes you get what you pay for and sometimes you don't. I know some people that are paying huge commissions and they're not getting even half the service that you get from Bert and Leslie. But their prices are so affordable, and they'll do anything in the world to help you. Private one-on-ones, you know, whether it's educational, whether it's psychology, money management, you just can't go wrong. So, end of plug. I love those guys. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. You have a bond chart up and not the E-mini. No, this is... earlier I did. Yes, you're right. I did. And I was trying to change it. I finally got it to change. I did have up the bonds. And we're going to go through all of the Concierge Trade Alerts here in just a few minutes. First, I want to take a peek at a couple things. Wonder why it couldn't find that page. Top 10 thing. Yep, I feel that new computer coming. I do. So Kim, whatever, he had a big parade, showed off his new rocket ships, missiles, over the weekend. Then he tried to fire one, and he looked at the lady sitting next to him, and he goes, "I swear this has never happened before." It didn't fire. Let me see if I can pull up the page I wanted to pull up, because it's always good. And I bet you it has something to say about Uber and what's the other one? Oh, the page is down. Oh, that's not good. Huh. Let me see if I can come in from another direction. Just give me a second. Or maybe 2 seconds. Well, but I guess he wasn't able to. I see Bert's logged in, ready to plug him in. John, if you're listening, I'd love for you to join the show if you can. I'm going to look for this one more time, and then I'm going to just pass. We can move on to something more productive. We still have our good word for the day, and we have the Concierge Trade Alerts. We've already looked at the S&P. I mean, the S&P alone was good for 10 points. I mean, and just so you know, it was sort of a zone-to-zone kind of a move. Kind of, sort of. I don't know why these pages won't load. North Korea's embarrassing failure. This isn't the page I wanted, but I'll take it. I'll take any page at this point. I better call the computer building guy today. Oh, no. North Korea's embarrassing missile failure may have been due to U.S. cyber sabotage. Blame it on the Americans. That's cute. That's cute, Kim. Markets are beginning to realize a Trump-fueled economic boom may not be coming. Okay, there's big stuff happening in Turkey. Oh, there's a manhunt going on for a madman. Hey, is that you, John? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here. Just
oh,
one
good.
sec. Just one sec. Oh, good.
Okay, we'll hang out and wait for John. Banks are suddenly scaling back lending, and Wall Street isn't sure what to make of it. North Korea attempted to fire a missile Sunday, but it blew up within seconds. It happened one day after the anniversary of the country's founding. While North Korea's missile program may be the shadowiest on Earth, it's possible that U.S. cyber warriors were the reason for the failed launch. A recent New York Times report uncovered a secret operation to derail North Korea's nuclear missile program that has been raging for at least 3 years. I'm so sorry I can't take that call on the radio. Essentially, the report attributes... Is that you, John?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's kind of a weird day. The Nugget is holding up okay. The J Nugs are weakish and technically not looking very good. However, given where we are and the gold, which is pretty much where we were at the highs of Friday, we did go higher overnight, sort of up towards the 1300. The fact that we're holding in here and consolidating, I think, is quite a good development. And the silver is holding above its previous resistance level, which has to be considered to be a good thing, I think. And what I would say is that it feels that, look, the French elections are getting very close. And I watched, I don't know whether you saw any of the footage over the weekend, but this Marine Le Pen is really very similar to Trump. A lot of people, the enthusiasm for the Trump rallies was infectious. It was unbelievable and unprecedented, the enthusiasm factor. And that seems to be going on with the Le Pen rallies over in France. And it appears to me she's either going to come from behind in a similar way to Trump, with an extra 10% jump, and is probably going to be the leading contender. And I'd say the chances of her pulling all the way through are pretty high. So we if you think about it, since Britain, formally started extricating itself from the European Union, the pound has actually gone up, which we sort of, because it's kind of like the Mexican peso. It went down on the fear of Trump more than the actuality of Trump. In other words, once they started talking and Mexico kind of stood its ground, the peso has been rallying significantly, as we had said on this show. And we said it was overdone when it got down to 45. It's now at 53 and a half today. It's kind of making a new high.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing going on with the pound. I mean, when the currency gets crashed, I mean, the pound's being hit from $2.10 back in the Soros days to 120 or so. So there's a lot of support for the pound around the 120 level. We're now at about 125, and we're looking pretty strong. The interesting thing is the euro and the Swiss are not. Normally, the pound is a leading indicator. The euro and the Swiss are not following suit yet. So, the Le Pen influence. If you look at gold, it's been going up. It's been going up on a variety of factors. Obviously, the Syrian thing, the Korean issue, etc., has been supportive. So, since even though the Korean thing is a little bit dampened over the weekend, it's still out there, and there's a risk of a preemptive strike that could really rock. I think a preemptive strike on Korea will send gold up $100, maybe even $200.
And you know what? A preemptive strike is, in my opinion, and I'm not a warmonger, but this guy has sophisticated toys that he does not know how to use properly. He is a nuclear disaster waiting to happen. I just, what I don't know is how do they take him out? How do they defuse the bombs? How do they not, send radiation raining down all over the world? How do you do that?
Well, I think when you look at the thing objectively, and you have to say, what does this guy want? Well, obviously he wants to stay in power. And he also, I think he wants recognition. He's just like anybody. He wants recognition.
Well, he should get a barber first.
He wants to be flattered. Sorry, say again?
He should get a barber.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to start. Maybe go to the gym. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm no movie star, but come on.
Well, they say he's been eating a lot of Swiss cheese. He went to school in Switzerland, and apparently his doctor told him to quit because he was blowing up, weight-wise. I mean, this guy could be a walking heart attack. He
could be.
He could die.
Yeah.
If he dies, there's nobody there.
Who would?
He doesn't have to make it.
The way their government is arranged, who would be in charge if something happened to him?
There'd probably be a kind of a military coup of sorts.
Okay.
Maybe one of the uncles or relatives might try to step in, but would be very difficult. But you got to. I mean, remember what we were talking about last week with Wayne? He's got a point. There's something fishy going on with North Korea, because you got to ask yourself. I mean, listen, they got the second largest army or third largest army on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't maintain an army like that without a lot of money.
That's right.
And
that's right.
And moreover, you've got these dozen. Remember, I said to you, you're going to be shocked when you see the images of Pyongyang today versus 10 years ago. It is like, it's like a mini Dubai almost. And now whether they just, trade has gone up a lot, increased 35% with China, so they were probably selling a lot of coal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's given them the revenues that he needed. He allegedly supposedly robbed 80 million from the Treasury. That's not going to buy him much. But there is, there has been a massive economic boom in North Korea, the likes of which has never been seen before.
See, I did not know that, but what I hear is the people are starving. There's great discontent.
Well, I think they were starving. I think things are better.
Are they?
They were starving, and they may. There's obviously some section of the population, but he's a pretty shrewd guy, and he may have. If he's instigated this boom and it's gotten to the levels that you saw over the weekend, I mean, just the guy has to be given an Oscar for choreography, because he certainly can put on a show. There's no question about that. It's flawless, and it really is. There's nothing like it anywhere on earth. I mean,
yeah, that parade over the weekend, it was a pretty impressive show of military might, and I saw some pictures.
And not only
of
that,
some
look at. I mean, you saw these huge trucks driving, with eight 16-wheelers
Mm-hmm.
carrying these huge rockets. I mean, they obviously have a very, it's sort of like the Soviet Union. You sort of say to yourself, how could the Soviet Union have become so powerful under the kind of communist regime? Well, he's a kind of a mini Soviet Union in the same way, in the sense, is he about to implode like the Soviet Union? Could be. Maybe he's bankrupting the country through military development. But nevertheless, building all these buildings has had to provide work for a lot of people.
Right.
And therefore, it's probably trickled down through the whole country. And it's pretty remarkable what he's been able to do. And maybe he's kind of pulling out. Maybe he's getting a lot of help from other countries we don't even know about. From Iran and places like that. Or so. The fact is, he's done an incredible job of transforming the skyline of the capital and putting on these shows and really modernizing, putting on possessing the third largest military in the world. It is a big, it's 1.2 million strong. It's really formidable what he's put together, and so he has to be given a lot of credit for that. But I think the way I see it, and I think I mentioned it on the show quite some time ago. It's sort of why doesn't maybe the guy is getting the memo and he's doing what he's doing, for the maximum bravado. But when you look at the Vietnam War and all the angst and devastation that brought to both countries, the U.S. and all the participants in the Vietnam War. I mean, it was really a terrible war. It was a very long war, and the communists won, but they got the memo, and now they're more capitalistic than most people on Earth. So you sort of wonder, when are they going to get the memo in North Korea? And maybe this sort of quasi-capitalism that's creeping in over there is transformational in the same way that it eventually upset the Soviet Union. Remember, when Russia went from communism to capitalism, it was a very rapid transformation. It didn't take long for Moscow to transform itself into a very capitalistic center. And while the transformation did hurt a lot of citizens who were on the payroll, and getting free food and all that kind of thing before, today you have to look at Russia and you have to say they've done an incredible job over there as well.
In North Korea, the average citizen, what do they think of their leader? Is his job approval
North
rating good, bad?
Oh, I think it's adoration, or forced adoration or whatever. It's probably very high, but
that's what it is. It's forced adoration. Okay, well said.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Korea is not the poorest country on earth by a long shot. It's down in the bottom quarter,
mm-hmm.
but they're not the poorest in the world, and obviously all the things that he's doing, and their manufacturing capability has to be pretty potent to create. I mean, look at the weaponry involved,
yeah.
and the personal weaponry. The guns, and they don't look to be. They're pretty modern-looking weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, their military is authentic, and it has, they have all the gear. So it's really, I think that if it comes to it, if this guy ever did sit down and have a meeting with either the vice president or even Trump himself, you never know. He might get the memo, and he say, look, if you sort of go capitalist and look at what you've done, he could actually be a freely elected leader. And it's kind of like Cuba. Cuba today is gone capitalist effectively, and we still have the old regime in charge, but they're not. It's not the old Castro; it's the new Castro. It's a different ball game. So there's a way that this thing could get worked out peacefully, or else he has to be taken, based on a denuclearization. But whether they will ever give into that it's a very hard road to go back. Once they're there, they're not going to want to give it up. So that's the big stumbling block, But maybe China can swing it.
Maybe. Pete had offered a comment. If France leaves the European Union, it's a big deal. But if so, watch out for Italy to exit next, and that's a much bigger deal. Italy is having and has been having trouble dealing in the European currency and the Union as well. If this happens, it's a domino effect and Europe will implode. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think you have to agree with that. It's sort of, it's kind of a win-win for gold almost, in the sense that, the combination of North Korea and the other issues, Syria, Iran, and also the possible exit of France from the euro, or from the European community, could be extremely bullish for the pound in the same way as it was for the Brexit. But on the other hand, if we just go to the brink and Europe and France actually votes, to stay in, the euro is probably going to rally a lot, maybe dramatically, and that would be bullish for gold as well, because it will be the dollar going down. And actually, where the dollar is today, it's sitting right at 100, so it's at a very pivotal level. And if we start breaking down any more in the dollar, that could be another factor that helps gold and silver go higher. What seems to be going on with the metals, if you look at the recent history, I mean, we're going up this kind of staircase, we advance, we pull back, we advance, we pull back, we advance, we pull back. That generally is a prelude to a very powerful upside breakout. I mentioned this about a stock the other day. I forget which stock it was or what it was, but it did break out to the upside very strongly. Another thing that's going on today is platinum has turned bullish. It is $10 away from 1,000 again, and I think this time the platinum is looking quite dominant, and leader is kind of leading, if you like. The weird thing is that platinum's win is palladium's loss for whatever reason, but platinum is definitely looking pretty strong here, and I think it's going to surprise on the upside. When platinum gets in a really strong bull mode, it's kind of unstoppable. And so here we are. Look, we're 1290s on the gold. We're 1860 on the silver. We're not that far away from the 19. We're 991 on the platinum, and we're 790 on the palladium. All of these, they're all hanging below a big number. And if we get a push in the next few days or this week through these big numbers on the upside, I think the effect will be very dramatic indeed. And I also think that the nuggets and the JNUG's underperforming, but in spite of that, there could be a come-from-behind run in the nugget if that happens, and in the gold stocks. Now, the only caution I would say at this point is that the nugget is not acting very well today. The dust is a little bit on the bullish side, just technically given where it's come from. In the last week or so, it's sort of put in a kind of a bottom that you have to be careful of. And also the VIXs, which rallied very strongly into Thursday, are also breaking down today. And there's a couple of reasons why the market is up today. Record, did you hear that report about record tax receipts?
No, I didn't. I didn't see any major economic reports today.
Yeah, that came out. The Empire report came in. That was down quite a bit. So that's not so. But it's sort of like that report even though it was negative, the market went up on it. So I think the market is back to its old tricks, where if the Fed are less likely to raise rates if the economics, the little boomlet we had in the last month or two has kind of subsided, and yet the market's frankly positioned to go to new highs here. It's sort of put in a pretty solid bottom on. I mean, really, we closed right on the lows on Thursday afternoon, if you remember, and here we are today, straight up. We've come straight higher, and this is a pretty strong up day. And remember, we've had some good earnings, so there's a lot of reasons for the market to be going higher, and weaker dollar doesn't hurt the market either. So the global index looks very, very strong today. I haven't checked the full thing yet. I'll just give it a check here, just a second. Also the debt, the debt shares, the yield shares, the HGH. That's looking. HYG is also looked like it put in a major bottom or a significant bottom last week. And the VIXs are losing their premium pretty rapidly today. Apart from the healthcare index, which remember that stock we were very bullish on, Insight, INCY. We had our stuff up in the 140s area. It broke down today pretty sharply, so it's kind of dragging the healthcare sector down. But let's look at just 1 second. Yeah, the global index has turned back up, and all of these industries look to me like we could break out to the upside here pretty soon. We're definitely not selling off today on anything there, except for perhaps the healthcare. So the situation looks quite positive. The TNA, the mid cap, has been a little bit on the soft side. They're coming back. Dow's up 108. This is a pretty good start to the week after the Easter holiday. I did get a copy of Garrett Jones's letter over the weekend.
Oh, did you get it? Oh, good. Okay.
I did. Yeah, look, this is a very well put together report.
He's a really smart guy. He is.
Yeah.
He brought Peter Eliades is a friend of his. He brought him on the show a while back. We're due to have him come back again. Now, he knows Bob Prechter, and you mentioned the other day that you have had several conversations with Bob Prechter. I'd like to have... I've never been a huge fan of his work personally, but I'm not against the guy or anything. But I think he would make a great guest for the show. So I'm going to see if I can find his email address. If you happen to have it, if you could forward it to me, I'd like to send him an official invitation.
It's a long time. I used to know I think I met Peter Eliades too. I used to know all these guys, as I've mentioned before. I was very good friends with Joe Granville for a long time. God rest his soul. He was a great guy. I stayed in his house. I used to. Prechter probably wouldn't know me, but I certainly know him.
Okay.
And we've had,
I'll see if Garrett's got an email address.
I even ran into Bill Gross a couple of times. I knew Bill Gross before he was famous, and what was intriguing about our meeting, our meetings, or when we met, was he told me about how he was a gambler. He started out as a gambler, and he was a very successful gambler. That's how he got his start. But the guy's very, very shrewd, very sharp, and I've had experience with people who are very good card players. They're usually very good technicians. I followed a guy this is how I sort of got my start in the gold area. In 1979, there was this guy who was a sort of card-playing genius. He got together with, he took 20,000 from 15 different people, and just as the gold was starting to take off in 1978, not from 76, this was the accelerated phase on the upside. And I didn't. I wasn't that rich at the time, and I didn't have the 20 grand to participate, but I did participate in as much as I could along the lines of what he, was espousing.
Right.
He took the 20 grand from those 15 people, each of them, and he turned it into 1.6 million.
Wow.
For every one of them. And what happened was very interesting. It's sort of a good lesson to mention for some of the people who might get early success with your system, right? Is to always be very disciplined, because what happened was when they got up to the 1.6 million, first of all, the first mistake they made was they had a huge party on January the 20th, 1980, which was the night that gold peaked at $875, and then it went down $200 overnight. So they lost, I don't know, probably $500,000 that night, just from the crash. So they weren't paying attention. In other words, they were partying on their success. So that was the first thing that went wrong.
Yeah, right.
And then they wanted to manage the money themselves. So he handed all the money back, or the control of the accounts back to everybody to manage themselves. And 13 out of the 15 ended up giving the 1.6 and more back to the market.
Oh, my goodness.
So that is a classic sort of a gambler's tale, if
Boy,
you
that
like.
is. That really is.
You have to be so disciplined in this business. You can't let success go to your head.
No.
And ever.
No.
The market will take it away from you.
You will never meet an arrogant trader. Well, let me say this. If he's arrogant, he won't be a trader for long. It just... No. Sorry. Pete also added, North Korea's economy is in the 120s worldwide, whereas South Korea has the 11th largest economy. The elite in North Korea know this and may just take out Kim themselves. Never know. Interesting.
What did he say?
Okay.
About the size of the economy?
North Korea's economy is in the 120s worldwide, whereas South Korea has the... yeah, I'm not sure. Pete, can you expound on that?
Halfway down the scale, then, because there's 220 countries or more. And so, as I said, they're definitely not the poorest by a long shot.
And South Korea has the 11th largest economy.
Yeah, that's impressive. Well, listen, the Koreans are pretty industrious people.
I was there. I was in Chinhae. I was in Busan, and when in the Navy.
You and I were there at the same time, and my recollection back then was, and I was there, in the late 70s.
Late 70s for me. You bought leather goods. You bought leather. You bought coats in Korea. Go ahead.
It was. It was in the late 70s. It was very. It wasn't anything like it is today. It was dirty. The street, the smell of sewage.
Well,
in the
and
street,
their currency was huge. It was like it was like comical. It was carnival. I mean, when we would go out on Liberty, if you wanted to convert $100 US into Korean, I think it was called won, Korean won. You had your pockets were full. You had it in your socks. You had it in your underwear. I mean, it was these big, huge banknotes.
Yeah. No. I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, their transformation is just unbelievable. It's just like China and Hong Kong and all the East. I mean, you look at the scale of building in Hong Kong. It's just absolutely. Hong Kong is one of the most amazing cities in the world.
I've been there. To walk those streets at night, all those booths where they sell the noodles. I don't know what that alley is called or that street, but it's amazing that all these different vendors can make a living, basically selling the same thing. I didn't know how to tell one from the other. You would just stumble into one and.
they just stay at it, and
Yeah.
they've got business going. I mean, there's so many people there.
Now, when I was there, this was before China took them back. The lease had not run out yet. So Hong Kong was still, were they ruled by the British?
1997 was when it changed hands.
That's when the lease ran out.
I predicted then that, that China would once they got the crown jewel of Hong Kong, that they would replicate the Hong Kongized China, and that's exactly what they've done. And in fact, I was in Shenzhen back then. There was nothing. I mean, Shenzhen was farmland. There was nothing there, and today it's I don't know.
That's where Foxconn.
20 million or 30 million.
Yeah, Foxconn is in Shenzhen.
I mean, I think there's at least 10 cities in China that are sort of up around the mega cities, between 20 and 30 million people. And there's 100 cities in China of over 10 million people. So it's extraordinary. And, that the Koreans are very, very industrious. I mean, Samsung and all these incredible, huge industries that are built, Korea, the shipbuilding industry and everything, it's remarkable. And they obviously have the same work ethic in North Korea. They said they have the same industrious nature, and they've got the brain power as well. So they're certainly in any. I mean, let's face it, the whole world is on a growth phase right now, like we've never seen before. In spite of the price of oil going down and the debt situation over in the Middle East is continuing to develop and grow, and that's amazing. So if the world, if we get a boom, a continued boom, or if we get a growth spurt here going into the end of the decade, and on the back of America's tax plan, which I think is very, very bullish for the world, we're going to see a world like we've never seen before, and that helps lift people out of poverty. I mean, China has to keep growing because the thought of having 500,000 unemployed in China and not being able to feed them is a big deal. That's something that I think maybe Trump and Xi may have discussed before and while in their meeting, and other issues like that. That how important it is to keep the world growth. I mean, you got all these people who are calling for the end of the world every day, and it doesn't happen. We keep going higher, and we're going higher on solid ground. This isn't a false boom. This is a real boom. The boom that we're in is real. The profits, even though these amazing companies like Facebook and Google have risen on a whole new generation of industries, if you like. Unlike the 2000 bubble, this is, these companies have real profits and real revenues, and they're paying the highest wages in the world. So, I mean, it's certainly a great time to be alive if you're able to be part of it.
Absolutely.
And the most important thing is, I mean, the interesting thing about accountability. There's more accountability today than ever because around the world, governments have to perform. They have to deliver. Otherwise, they get thrown out. And as I was mentioning last week, or in the last few weeks, about the biggest surprise is the way Mexico is kind of taking responsibility for a lot of the issues that have plagued Mexico for a long time. These governors that have been, involved with the drug cartels and this sort of thing are being held to account. There were two of them who were fugitives. One was found in Italy last week, and he's going away for life. And the other guy was just found in Guatemala over the weekend. And both these guys ripped off, tens of millions of dollars, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, really major corruption, and there's about 4 or 5 ex-governors who are in one sort of peril or another, and you only have to Google them to find, you know, I mean, it's kind of amazing that it's actually happening in Mexico of all places. You'd almost think these governors have immunity once they leave office, you know, and that's not the case at all. It's really remarkable.
That's really quite a turnaround from the way things have been for as long as I can remember. Because even in the 70s, when I was in the Navy stationed in San Diego for a while, I mean, just crossing that border into Tijuana, it was, a whole nother world.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the bank stocks are starting to go up again today, which is a good sign. As well, you know, that this rebound might have some legs. You know, I would say this: it's kind of critical that this rally on the market keeps going, or still, you know, works its way higher this week. If it were to turn down from here, that would not be a good development. But if we are able to you know, hold these gains today and build on them over the next couple of days, it's going to take a lot of resistance levels out, and it could pave the way. You know, the one thing that may be different from 1987, you know, we haven't gone up as sharply as 87 in this year and 16, so there may be less likelihood of a correction. So if this is just a sort of consolidation before we break out higher, that could be very, very bullish indeed. And we may still get one of these very fast moves. You know, I'm kind of thinking that there's stuff going on in the background, including passing the healthcare bill before the middle of May, that could be a big catalyst to a sudden and dramatic upside breakout in the market. Now, whether that comes from a lower level than where we are today, or the same level or a higher level, obviously remains to be seen as to how we pace out the rest of April. But it certainly feels to me like, you know, given the way the market came back here from a really bad close on Thursday, it certainly signals that this market has a lot of upside in it. And listen, look at the debt. The debt ceiling. The market doesn't appear to be increasing the debt at the moment. In other words, we're still sort of hanging around, you know, 100 billion or so south. You know, we're not going through that 20 trillion level yet. Although that's another potential catalyst for the gold market if we were to suddenly run up through it. But if we've got record tax receipts, you know, that could easily get notched down a bit, and that would be a real positive for the market as well. So it appears, especially from the world index and the way these indices have turned upwards here today, we could be at the beginning of another up leg.
Well, gold last night, it really popped on the open, but then it sold off, and on our alert it wasn't much. We said sell 1291, so we had a $240 move. Then it got back above the triggered a second time, made 350 available, and then triggered a third time, and it made $140 per contract available. So, you know, everyone was able to take a little something out of it last night. The really nice one was the S&P.
Look at the platinum, Dwayne. The platinum, I think the platinum might end up today over 1,000 today. It seems to be unstoppable. In fact, and I'm not sure. It's got to be up quite a bit right here.
On the S&P, we suggested buying 23.29, and so far we put in 10.25 points so far on that trade. And we're working our way up to the weekly trading zone overhead. So,
yeah. The Nasdaq's up pretty strong as well. Nasdaq's kind of leading, you know. Just a second, check this platinum. You're up $15 on the platinum right now, right on the high of the day. Right on the high of the day. And actually the metal, see that way they're turning higher here all across the board, including the copper. The one thing I wanted to say is the wheat, you know, even the beans have come off their highs today, but the wheat and the corn kind of look like they've got another down leg to go. So that could put a damper on the grain markets for maybe till May. So that doesn't seem to be bothering the gold and silver right now. In terms of this. So it looks to me like the gold stocks have pulled back here. They're getting a little bit of support, sort of for a charge higher. Not 100% yet, but I'd say the odds of I mean, look at the silver. You know, we're sort of heading back up towards the highs, the recent highs in silver and gold for that matter. So the gold, it's definitely acting quite firm. And when you got platinum leading the way it's leading, it's usually a very good sign for the metal.
Okay. Well, John, thanks. Hey, I'm sending you an email right now. When you get a chance, read that and then maybe shoot him an email. I think you guys should have a conversation.
Yeah. By the way, thanks. Congrats on all your exposure. You're getting quite.
Hey, we're pushing today to get into the What's Hot Top 10 on iTunes. So I have.
That's pretty high. That's pretty good.
I have put the link into the chat box a couple of times. Guys, if you just simply click the link and hit the subscribe button, doesn't cost you a thing, and you'll never even know it's there unless you choose to go listen to one of the recordings. But I would really love to be in the top 10. So I'm gonna put that link in the chat box one more time. It's simply http feedburner.com/CFRN. So all you have to do when you go there is let me get this thing all the way down. There we go. Did I get it right? Let's see. No, I didn't. There we go. There you go, guys. All right. Well, John, thanks so much for everything, and we look forward to talking to you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
All right. We really enjoy it. Take care.
Likewise.
Bye-bye. Oh, something has happened on my chat box. It seems to be running backwards or something. I don't know if anybody's able to see what I put in there or not. Anyway, it's simply, you don't need all that HTTP stuff. That went out with AOL. Feeds, plural, feedburner.com/CFRN. You type that into your address bar, you click subscribe, and then forget about it. And we get in the top 10, and it'd be awesome. All right. Let's do the Concierge Trade Alerts and our good word for the day. In fact, let's try a good word for the day and then do the Concierge Trade Alerts. Because sometimes, if I do it the other way around, we don't get to the good word for the day. And I don't want that to happen. Oh boy, I'm gonna reboot this thing. If I can just get through this show. Wait, I rebooted over the weekend. Didn't I? I thought I did. Alright, well, let's just try to get through this. We'll worry about all that later. Oh, not responding. Really? Give it a second. It'll come around. If you got any questions, now would be a great time. Type them into the chat box. Yeah, even my chat box, it's like it's upside down. Bizarre. It's certainly a Monday. Okay. We're gonna make this work. Some way, somehow. Stand by. Wow. Finally chased it down. I put my notes. I should make my notes more accessible. And then I don't have to go through the... One more click. Then we're going to run through the Concierge Trade Alerts. Then we're going to be done for the day. Okay? Piece of cake. Now, here's what we're going to talk about. You to compare yourself with others. You always come up short. Makes you cynical. Nothing you do is satisfying. Envy makes you suspicious of other people's motives, even when they genuinely care about you. They're not taking you out to lunch just to rub their new Cadillac in your face. They actually want to spend time with you. Yeah, right. Well, maybe they do. You have trouble accepting that their friendship is real, so you distance yourself from them and you end up with very few friends. Is that you? Is that me? So what's the answer? How do we fix this? We know it's a problem, so we know we need to fix it. We're going to call Saul? I don't think so. Acceptance and gratitude is the antidote to the poison of envy. It's about accepting that God is in control and learning to be thankful for the many kinds of blessings that surround you. Remember, God has given you special abilities that He gave no one else. Why not use them to help each other? And while you're at it, love your brother, even if he chooses to be your enemy. That is our good word for the day. All right. I always feel better after that. Okay, let's rocket our way through the Concierge Trade Alerts. Now, this is, I'm about to show you, this is an exact copy, or not a replica. This is the very email I sent out last night to the Concierge Trade Alert clients and everyone who's on the trial. Now, some of you that were on the trial that should have expired, you actually got the alerts last night. And I got to get in there this afternoon and tie myself up fixing that. Not because I want to be mean-spirited or anything, but I have to be fair. I have to make decisions sometimes that are uncomfortable in order to be fair to everyone. Okay? So, if you know it was a 5-day trial and, I'm just saying. We all feel better when we do the right thing. Agreed? Agreed. All right, we're going to leave it at that. Okay? So, this is the email that was sent. You can take a snapshot. You can stop the video right now if you're watching this after the fact. Once I post it on iTunes and on the Google Plus blog. And you can write them down however you want to play it. I did write, tonight's data looks a bit odd. In 8 years, I've never said that. Get ready for something or nothing. So far, it's been more nothing than something. I did not know half the world markets would be closed today. So maybe that something comes tonight when Globex opens. I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I don't play one on the radio. I just call them as I see them. Okay, so we know that the S&P went very well. We were tickled pink. In fact, let me entertain you. Oh boy. Don't act ugly. God don't like ugly. Oh, really? Okay, 23.29. It got up to a swing high of 23.3250. So from 29 to 32.50, that's 3.5 points. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, then important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And then it ran up 10 points. I can see this is going to take a while. Alright, so we had 3.5 point move, went back down to the trigger. Got one tick below the trigger. That sets a new trade in motion. 10.25 points. We never get out at the swing high or swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop. Some of us trade to a hard target. Either way, you're almost always going to leave a little something on the table. And you have to be okay with that. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy, and you don't want to take that drive. For some of us, we wouldn't even have to drive. It's just a short walk. I speak of myself. Let's go to the Dow. Shake that tree. Come on. There we go. On the Dow, we said to consider buying 24.20. $24.20. Wow, that actually went pretty smooth. Buy 24.20. Once again, I just want to say congratulations to those of you over the weekend who took advantage of that little window of opportunity that allowed you to go from being a partner to a partner with grandfather status. Oh, we're going to have some good times together. Just ask a grandfather. All right, we got up to 529. So that would be 109 points. He said in his head. 109 points. At $5 per point, the Dow pays $5 per point. S&P pays $50 per point. The margin to trade either one is the same. All of the indices are $500 per contract with the broker that we use. I was in a mentoring session with someone Friday or Saturday. They asked for a special, even though it was a holiday, and I said, sure, no problem. They're paying $1,000 margin to trade the S&P. So, just so you know, with Daniels, all of the indices, S&P, Dow, Russell, NASDAQ, $500. Okay? Now, you just got to make sure that you're flat when the market closes. Today, that we're on the Monday session, okay? This afternoon, when the Monday session closes, you got to get flat. At 6 p.m. Eastern, when the markets reopen, and you're saying, no, wait, the markets don't reopen until 9:30 tomorrow morning. For the stock boys, the futures fellows, they reopen at 6 p.m. Eastern, and even though it's dark outside, the day margins kick back in. I know. That's why we love futures. $500 per contract to control over $116,000 of equity. Your stockbroker still has that blank stare on his face because you thought you could buy $116,000 of equity in the S&P 500 for $500. He's laughing at you with his buddies over lunch until one of them pipes in and goes, well, you know your customer was right. And they all go, what? Then they all go back and quit their job and go to work over at Daniels Trading, being futures brokers. All right, so life was sweet on the Dow. S&P, awesome. Dow, awesome. This would be, okay, these little yellow arrows, this is where I'm highlighting the Sunday night Globex Open. Okay. Now, while all the other markets open at 6 p.m. Eastern, soybeans open at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. All right. So, we were looking to be buyers of the soybeans at 963 if we got there. The swing high was 962. We never touched 963. Now the flip side on soybeans is that we wanted to be sellers at 956. That happened over here, which is I'm telling you, I can't wait for November beans to come back. November beans, we just rock day after day after day. I don't know. Bert's tried to explain the reason to me, but man, we just, during the November beans contract, we could just trade the November beans and just, we don't need anything else. See how these little guys here trigger you in, stop you out? It's so frustrating. Now this got all the way down to 953.50. Roll it up to 54. No, I better not, because it's 2.5 points at $50 per point. Okay, and then we get back above the trigger, and down we go again, and our swing low is 951.50. So if it were 952, it would be 4, so it's 4.5. 4.5 times 50. Okay. Leg, retrace, another leg coming down. However, you were probably trailing your stop, and as this came back up, you got taken out. Now, if you're trading multiple contracts, you might pay yourself on the way down. Your stop could still be up here somewhere, okay? And you could still be in the trade. Maybe you took off a third at 2 points. Maybe you took off another third at 4 points. And maybe you still got a third out there looking for lower prices. Mark Douglas explains that very well in his book, Trading in the Zone. Audible is a sponsor of our radio program. If you contact me at support@cfrn.net, I will be happy to make sure you get a legal free copy of Trading in the Zone, the audiobook as written by Mark Douglas. Now, this isn't one of those bootleg copies floating around the internet. This is a legitimate copy. It's free to you, but his wife, his widow, she still gets her royalty. Do the right thing. If you got one of those PDF copies, just throw the thing, take it out back and ceremonially set it on fire. And then send me an email, and I'll hook you up with a legitimate copy, and she'll get a royalty. I mean, you can give a widow money. Maybe you don't know her. That's okay. You're going to gain so much from the book, especially chapter 6, and you can bless her at the same time by doing the right thing. You know, pretty soon there's not going to be any musicians because they keep getting ripped off. And the same with authors. You know, in this digital age, it's all pretty cool with the e-books and the e-music, but there's a lot of digital thuggery going on. And you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. It's up to you. Crude oil. Crude oil's been a little sleepy of late, don't you know? What the heck put this on my chart? Okay, now these are still last week's trading zones. Now, look at what happened last week. We spent most of the week going from zone to zone to zone. And here we are this week, zone to zone. I mean, not zone to zone, but inside of that zone. Now we've actually dropped back below. Alright, last night, Globex open. Where are you? Where are you? Right there. $16th, $13th. Okay, so we gapped higher on the open last night. And then we rolled over and sold off pretty quick. We were looking to sell crude if we had the chance at 52.80. We were given such a chance. Sell 52.80. I don't know who that is in the background whispering, but if you want to come on the show, you're welcome to. 52.80 down to 63. That would be $170 per contract. That's what I mean about crude being kind of quiet of late. $170 per contract available. I mean, if you had 10 contracts on, that's a nice day's pay. But if you're just getting started with one contract, it's a nice day's pay. Price gets back above the trigger, and then down it comes to 52.67. So that would be $130 per contract available. Okay. Back above, down we go. Swing low. 52.66. That's going to be $140 per contract available. Okay. Now the long side on crude, we wanted to be buyers at 53.10 if we could. Sadly, we were given that opportunity. And we put in a high at 21. So it's $110. $11 times $10 per tick. That's the deal. Crude's usually one of our better movers. It's just been a little quiet of late. That's okay. Let's see, where is price right now? 52.70. I think I'm gonna take a peek. You know what I'm gonna do? Because you're hanging out with me late in the afternoon on the radio show. Well, I guess it's not late, but if you were up working as late as I was last night, it feels late. Oh goodness, here we go again. Not responding. Weekly trading zone on crude for this week. I'm giving you a this week zone to the general population, to the community at large. It's 52.70 /75. Oh, do come on. Okay, let's try it again. Nope. It's like there's something running in the background somewhere. It's just eating up resources, and I can't figure out quite what it is. Okay, so that's this week's weekly trading zone. Market opened here. We hit our first weekly zone right here, 52.70.75. The next zone overhead is I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm not supposed to. But you seem like a nice crowd, so 53.05. Yeah. Yeah. 53. Oh, Snapdragon. There we go. 53.05. So I couldn't flip it around because I got the wrong guy loaded this time. So we went from zone to zone to zone to zone. Now, yes, we did spike that zone a little bit, but nothing. We spiked it. So from 52.75 to 53, that's 25 ticks at $10 per tick, $250 per contract. So that's 250, 500, 750. Now it's probing lower. Michael's going to say, what would you do that for? I don't know. It's way down there, guys. And then we won't say nothing about it after this. We'll just keep it between us. Please close. Close Sesame. No good deed goes unpunished. Okay. All right. So somebody asked today, how do some partners trade zone to zone? Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. What's next? Bonds. Treasury bonds. It's obvious where the Globex Open was last night because we gapped way higher on the open. Bonds are a funny animal. They pay $31.25 per tick. There's 32 ticks to a point. 32 times 31.25 is $1,000 a point. S&P is 50 a point, the Dow's 5 a point, and bonds 1,000 a point. True story. Okay, so on bonds last night we said if you can sell 153.22, and that was a terrible place to sell bonds, quite frankly. The good, the bad, the ugly. We don't sweep anything under the carpet. We just show you how human we are. Day after day. I mean, we do okay. Right? Everybody wants to know if I want to make another video this afternoon. You know, I don't know. I don't think so. So how low did this get? That's 3 points. That's actually 6. Lordy mercy. 6 points, and then these guys over here, I'm just gonna have to, if you traded them, just call them what they are. Stop out, followed by a stop out. No, there didn't. It didn't have to be a stop out. I mean, there are other ways of looking at this. And by the way, I talked about this during the during the Q&A session yesterday. I've been working on this. I've developed a new way to use the Concierge Trade Alerts. You still use your rules-based trading, just the way Michael has taught you in the live training room. But you use the Concierge Trade Alerts as a backdrop to your rules-based trading. I don't know how I missed putting that together sooner, but I did. But now I'm locked and loaded. In queue. I was going to look at something earlier, but I'm going to wait. I'll do it tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow. I did the weekly trading zones last week for the NQ because I had an issue with the Russell data, and so I just did the NASDAQ. I want to show you how the zones have worked out, but I want to do it when my computer's like not lagging the way it's lagging right now, because this would be like some kind of grueling punishment. Okay, let's just deal with last night. How about that? Sunday night Globex open. Right there. No, thank you. April 16th. Okay. So, NASDAQ. Consider buying $53.62. And everybody says, why can't they all be like that? Well, because trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Buy 53.62. Okay. We're almost done, guys. Buy 53.62. 53.62. All right. Swing high. 53.91. All right. So he scrambled for his calculator. 91 minus 62 equals 29 points. $29 times $20 per point equals $580 per contract available. Now, I think it goes without saying at this point, I really did send out this email to each and every subscriber and each and every person on the trial, and even to some people that I wasn't supposed to. So if you're one of the wasn't supposed to's, if you want to become a subscriber, you got to get a hold of Michael. Okay, he's taking care of all that right now because I got my hands so full between the mentoring and between the concierge alerts and then the daily doubles and the OTADs and oh my goodness. My autobiography. No, I'm kidding. It's just memoirs. No, I'm not writing anything. Maybe a poem. 949-42 Emini. That's right. That's our phone number. Call Michael. 949-42 Emini. If you get voicemail, try this. Leave a message. He'll call you back. I might even call you back. If you just hang up, when I look at the call log every day, I can't believe how many times I see missed call, missed call, missed call, missed call. If you just leave a number, we'll call back. Really. I mean, it would save you, because I know you get, and because it gives us the number, and I see sometimes somebody call like 5 times and hung up because they got voicemail. You know, cut us some slack. We're working really hard to serve you, and if you will leave a message, we'll really call you back. Okay? I know you. I'm like that. You know, when I call to talk to somebody, I want to talk to them now. If I wanted to talk to them later, I'd call them later. Right? We need to work on ourselves. Okay, so we covered the NASDAQ. We covered the gold. It shined brightly. Actually, we had like three little trades. But, you know, to keep the lights on. Oh, this one got some legs. Yeah, that's more than 140 now. From 91 down to 88. That's 300 now. I'm glad I peeked back in. Bang. Shang-a-lang. Alright. That's everything, right? We did S&P, we did Dow. Oh, we didn't do Russell. We did not do the Russell. That's the only one we haven't done. And why not? I really don't know. Alright. Well, let's make this a Russell chart. Oh, you know, there's been an issue. I need to bring this to someone's attention. When you type in RLM, it doesn't populate. MM7. Okay. Okay, RLM. Okay, if I change that to a 7. See, this is an issue over at the ICE exchange. Once it comes back to the CME, we won't have these kind of problems. Okay. I have no idea what that line's doing there. Oh, we're on a 5-minute chart. That could have something to do with it. We need 4-tick range. Alright, we're going to be done after this one, so if you got any questions, fire away. Man, there was something's not right. Oh. Alright. Now we got it. But that doesn't go there. It goes over here at the Globex open. Which is right there. Now, because this is on the ICE exchange, it also... No, I take that back. This opened at 6 o'clock as well. Okay, 6 p.m. Eastern. So on the Russell, we were looking to buy 1345. You gotta love it when that happens. Buy 1345. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. Okay, buy 1345. All right. Here. All right, let's talk about this for a minute. That's 1345. You need to have your stop at least 1340. Okay? Giving away more information than I normally do, but that's alright. Just listen up. It's 5 points. At $50 a point, that's $250. Is that acceptable? Yes. So do we get stopped out on this? No. Do we make money on this? Yes. Do we get another go at it? Yes. Okay. So from 45 to 50, that's $290. No, we'll just call it 250. $250 per contract available. Price gets back below the trigger. And this time it goes up to 54.60. Yeah. Okay, so from 45 to 54, that's 9 times 5. That's $450 plus per contract. Okay, doke. So there you have it. If I can find the energy, post an app before I have to get the alerts out tonight, I will make a condensed version so that those who don't have time to sit through the whole show can, in about 15 minutes, see a recap of all the Concierge Trade Alerts. We had another tremendous day. We're thankful, we're humbled, and we're happy to be able to bring you what I think are some of the best alerts out there. I really do. I work very hard to do the best job that I can for you. And if you've taken the trial now and you want to become a subscriber, because you can see that basically one day has the ability to potentially pay for an entire quarter. A couple days to a week pays for an entire annual subscription. I mean, or you can keep spending money looking for the magical indicator, the mystical oscillator, the unicorn guru who's gonna put you in trades where you never get stopped out again. I want his number. I want to talk to that guy. Seriously. Okay. Now, I've had a lot of fun today. You're a great audience. Best audience in talk radio. Hands down. Can I bug you one more time? And then I'll leave it alone. Okay? Because I realize people watching it after the fact can't see the chat box. feeds.feedburner.com/CFRN. If you would just type that into the little address bar up there on your browser, and when you get to that page, click where it says subscribe. You can subscribe with all different kinds of podcatchers. You can subscribe the way John said he did earlier as a bookmark. I mean, and we're in the top 100 of the What's Hot category on iTunes, and it would mean so much to me to be in the top 10 just once. You know, if we're only there for a day, that's okay. But chances are, once you get there, the more people hear about you, know about you, and the better your chance of staying there. So, you know, it's up to you. I love you either way. I mean that. I don't joke about love. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace.
According to the IRS, the number one crime in America you stolen? Guess what? The statistics say death. Now, go congratulate your 3 friends who got off easy. Am I telling you this just to make you paranoid? Kick the covers all night? Hardly. I bring good tidings, because you know me, you can beat the odds. If I fail you, I have a $5 million guarantee in place to put your life back together. Yes, it does feel a bit like a superpower, but I refuse to wear the tights. Seriously though, identity theft is no laughing matter. Let me protect you before it happens. CFRN.net/legal shield. You can thank me later. Your peace of mind is waiting at CFRN.net/legal shield.
That was so bad, I don't even know what to say. I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.
You're listening to a Q&A session where Pastor Mark Driscoll answers text message questions sent in during his sermon. This session comes from our Doctrine series, which covers the basics of Christianity. For more audio and video content, please visit marshillchurch.org.
What was God's reason or purpose for creating us? We don't know. The first thing every theologian needs to know is that they don't know everything. Okay? It says in Ephesians 1 that we were predestined in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. And it goes on there in verses 4 through 13, I think it is, in Ephesians 1, which is one unit of thought. And it says, to the praise of his glorious grace. Okay? We exist for the praise of his glorious grace. But when we tend to think of why God made us, we tend to think that there is a lack, want, or need in God that he made us to fill. And that's not true. It says in Acts 17 that God is not served by human hands, that God doesn't need our help. There's nothing that we do that God's in heaven going, thank you. I was totally befuddled and I'm glad you're here. You know, I couldn't lift that. It was too heavy for me. God doesn't have that experience. Some religions would teach that God was alone. And God was very lonely, so he made us to have some friends. No, God, within the Trinity, had loving relationship. There's nothing that we do that God couldn't do. God didn't make us because he needed us. God didn't make you because he needs you. God loves you. God made you to be in relationship with him, to share in his love, to share in his joy, to experience his grace to the praise of his glory. That's why our relationship with God is solely contingent on grace. He doesn't need us, we need him. He gives to us and we receive from him. And if we understand that, it's very easy to love him because he is a giver. He's the giver of life. He's the giver of the earth. He's the giver of the image. He's the giver of the Son. He's the giver of the cross. He's the giver of the empty tomb. He's the giver of the gospel. He's the giver of the Holy Spirit. He's the giver of eternal life. And we're to respond to the praise of his glorious grace. Next question. If God doesn't have a physical anatomical form, how are we created in his image? I thought I just preached on that. Not to be rude, but to be rude. When we tend to think of image, we tend to think of physical, meaning like, I have a huge Shrek-sized head. So if you see one of my kids, you're like, that's Mark's kid. Look at that head. That poor kid he can't even keep himself up. When we think of, reflecting attributes, again, love, mercy, compassion, justice, holiness, patience, kindness, truthfulness, that's how we reflect him in that way. That God is spirit, and we have a spirit, and we're made as spirit beings, to be sure, housed in physical bodies, but it is the spiritual aspect of our being that manifests through our physical bodies to show the glory of God. If God loves us first, why can't we love one another as God wishes? We'll deal with that next week. We sin. Martin Luther described sin in this way, that truly we were made to respond to God and others in love. That's how we're made. And sin is the bending of self into the self. I love me, not you, not him. I serve me, not you, not him. I think about me, not you, not him. That self. Right? You think about that. You go to the bookstore, self-help. That's antithetical to any biblical teaching. Self-esteem, totally antithetical to any biblical teaching. Well, where's my dignity, value, and worth? God made you. It's not in self, it's in image of God. Well, how am I going to fix myself? You're not going to fix yourself. You need help. God made you, he can fix you. If he made you, he's the best one to help you get fixed. He's the only one who really knows how to help. Then what tends to happen is that when we get bent in on ourselves, here's what happens. We get very lonely. That's why it's not good to be alone. Do you know that the first thing that sin does in Genesis 3, it separates. They hide from God and they cover themselves from one another. You say, why? Is God not loving or good? No. God is loving and God is good. But when we're in an unrepentant state of sin, we isolate ourselves, we become very individualistic, we hide from God and people. In heaven, I assure you of this. There won't be individualism as we know it. There will be people who love God and love one another, and there won't be hiding and guilt and shame and double identity and secret lives and selfishness and mistrust and distrust. See, God's still got a lot of work to do. I think it's in Romans 5. He says that God has poured out his love in our hearts by the Spirit whom he has given us. Through the Holy Spirit, that love of God is imparted to us, so now we can start to bust out of this sick cycle of self. Love God, love others. But it takes the power of God, and ultimately it takes our death, burial, and resurrection to eradicate all of the effects of sin, the bending of self into the self. Next one, we'll do a couple more. If we are not gods, what did God mean in Psalm 82:6 when he called us gods? In the Hebrew, the word there is rulers. Okay? And therein he's talking about political and religious leaders. And in that sense, it is speaking